Hey boys and girls, this is a personal story. I've been recommending a lot of lenses to you folks, and I've heard back from a lot of you. I mean, basically, I think I've heard back about 30 or 40 from you, 30 or 40 of you people so far. You're saying, oh my god, this lens is just awesome, I didn't know what to look for, and you've owned all the lenses, and I was hesitant to buy X lens, whatever it was, and I bought it. It's cheap and it's awesome, and just can't thank you enough. And I made a recommendation a couple weeks ago to a real pro photographer, not someone who says she's a pro, but someone who actually is a pro. And she was heading over to Southeast Asia, and she sent me some low-resolution pictures because Southeast Asia, obviously, got really bad internet connections. And she told me that I could share her email with you on the Tokina 100mm macro lens, perfect for macro work. Perfect focal length for macro work, and everybody's got to have a good macro lens. You just got to. But it's also an awesome portrait lens. And she said, Ken, my deepest thanks for insisting so hard in that video to buy the Tokina 100mm, or you're just plain stupid if you don't buy it. I thought you'd like to see some of the first images. I don't know what I have done without it. These are super low resolution because there's non-existent internet service here in Mandalay. I have it on my Nikon D750. The original pictures are 30 megabytes. Obviously, because she couldn't send those, so I was going to show you a few of the pictures she told me I could share with you. And here is some of the low resolution. She had to do that because of the internet service. Low resolution downsampling images she took of Thai monks. With the lens that I recommended that she buy, and she overnighted it to herself because she was on a trip to Southeast Asia. These are her pictures. And I know a good eye when I see it, and look at that. That is just gorgeous. Here's the monk and prairies burning incense, and beautiful eye, I am a critical schmuck, and I praise very little, and I know a real photographer when I see one. I actually knew that she was a real photographer because she gave me a link to some of her professional work. Here's some of her work from Cuba. She said she was heading over to Southeast Asia with a few other professional photographers. And here are some images of hers, of dancers in Cuba. Just gorgeous work. Obviously, these are just low-res pics of her high-res photos. I was telling a lot of you, I know a lot of pros like this. It's kind of like a master carpenter. I lived in Russia for a good while, and I've saw some master carpenters over there that would just produce amazing stuff, and they have limited tools. It's not saying that Patricia or any other pro like her can't get whatever tool, but they get used to, as all of us do. We get comfortable, like we get comfortable with our Toyota or Volvo. We kind of don't step out of the bounds, and it's good to do that, but you don't know who to trust on making a recommendation on, like, well, this is good. You're doing, your work is just incredible. It's just beautiful. Look at that gorgeous work that Patricia produced. Look at that dynamic range and just the compositional perfection. Just excellent. Great work from Patricia. It's not great work. It's wonderful, exquisite, beautiful work. And she took my lens recommendation on the Tokina 100mm macro, and she overnighted it to herself, and now she's over in Southeast Asia, and she sent me this wonderful email saying thank you. She said I don't know what I could do without it, and really I am just happy to, I'm happy to make people happy. I actually do like making people happy, and I like giving people recommendations so they're not wasting money or wasting time, and they can talk to someone with experience with all these lenses. And like I said, just like a professional carpenter, they have a certain limited tool set that they use, and they produce exquisite results with those tools, just like a photographer with his dozen or so lenses. But there might be, that oddball lens out there they might not have heard somebody talk about that is just like the magic tool that will take their perfect craft and just add an extra little hair to it so that they can reach their arm out, to reach out their skills even just a little further. I mean, the skills are always there. She obviously has exquisite skills, beautiful taste. She's a master at of light manipulation and of composition, which what distinguishes a genuine, true professional photographer. Someone who's a master of light manipulation and a master of composition. That is what differentiates a real professional photographer like Patricia from an amateur with an expensive camera. You know, that doesn't mean you're professional at all because you have an expensive camera. Patricia is a real professional. So anyway, these are the emails she just sent me from Southeast Asia on the lens she had overnighted to herself. On a recommendation, she said I could share these with you, and I suggest you type in her name and check out her YouTube channel. And here is one of the pictures. Obviously it's low resolution, but you can still see the beauty. Exquisite composition. As I often say in philosophy, absence is more important than presence. Everybody's worried about, I gotta paint everything in my picture with light, I gotta capture everything. Those beautiful pictures like this, the composition, it's exquisite. Now you can see the absence. There's basically only about 20% of the face that is illuminated. Everything else is in the dark. This is compositional perfection. I hate to make a crude analogy, but it's kind of the difference between seeing a full-fledged nude people versus seeing a beautiful, exquisite person in lingerie. It's like, well, why is that absence? The mind is the most important tool, obviously, that we have. And in expressing that in photography and expressing that in beautiful composition, of course, there are many compositional factors to consider, learning that in photography school and growing up and taking pictures and realizing what's gorgeous and what isn't. Absence is as, if not more important than presence. And what that means is that I can learn a lot, or as much. It's an ancient Greek premise, since I'm an ancient Greek philosopher. A translator of ancient Greek philosophy, an expert on the topic of ancient Greek philosophy. You can learn more by absence. It's called the via negativa method. And the same is true of real professional photography, is that I can understand and find more exquisite beauty in what is absent and let my mind develop the rest and see the compositional beauty of a photograph like this than of everything being illuminated, just like, as a crude analogy, like I said, a model wearing a beautiful negligee or lingerie versus somebody that's just totally buck naked, that is fully exposed. Nothing is left to the imagination. People worry so much about flash photography, which is so important. I'm a total flash nut. I've got a dozen flashes. Everything is basically flash photography. But stuff like this, in the same way in flash photography, you're only illuminating a certain portion of your object or whatever your subject, depending on what you're shooting. Stuff like this is important. It is exquisite. It's beautiful. And it's stuff like this that wins awards. This is why Patricia is a genuine, consummate professional. And I'm so happy that she loved the Tachina lens that I recommended to her, and she says she couldn't have done without it. And she loves the bokeh and just the creamy, rich contrast and details. As I recommended to you in an earlier video, why the Tachina 100mm is just an excellent lens. And of course, it's basically the minimum focal length for a true macro. Of course, I've been recommending the 60mm macro lens to you, but the reason for that, it's too short for just a macro only work lens, but it has 4 purposes. It's a quad purpose lens. So if you need to take macro shots, it is there, but it also has 4 other very important purposes. That's why it is a lens that is a necessary buy. If I'm going to make a recommendation as like a 5th necessary lens to purchase, as one of my earlier videos I've talked about, that it's $400 new, and make it for a Canon or Nikon mount, and it's an exquisite, divine lens, and I'm so glad she's already got the mad crazy skills, but all she did was just add another tool to her tool chest to carve out a different detail in her compositional work and her work with light manipulation, of which I can tell that she is a master already thereof. So it's just like taking a master carpenter and giving him an extra tool that he can use to expanding his or her horizon, just like Patricia's done. As you can see that she already had those skills Beautiful, beautiful artwork. So I am giving a shout out to Patricia. You can check out her YouTube channel down here. Patricia Pomerleau. If I accidentally mispronounced your name, then that is totally my fault. Anyway, have fun in Southeast Asia, and I'm so happy you're enjoying the lens recommendation. And to all you other peeps out there that have been buying the cheap in price, not cheap in quality. The cheap lenses I've been recommending because price means nothing. Okay? It really doesn't. I'm all about recommending the good stuff, not the expensive stuff, and that is hopefully what differentiates my YouTube channel from others, is that I have the extreme broad experience to tell you, yes, there's all this expensive stuff, but I'm going to show you something that costs 1/15 as much and will do 95, 98, 90, even 100% as good of a job. And that's what's important, because we all know photography gear is damn expensive, and making the right recommendation is sometimes tough. It's confusing as a chameleon lost in a bowl full of Skittles trying to figure out which color to turn. So, have fun! Patricia in Southeast Asia, stay safe, and to all you other peeps that out there that bought the lens that emailed me back saying stuff like, "Oh my god, I love this lens, thank you for recommending, it was so cheap, and it's just so wonderful, it's awesome, it's great." Thank you so much, that makes me happy, and keep it coming, and I'll try to do whatever I can to help you, and pass off some experience on what to get and what to do, and stuff to help you to make things simple, because life is difficult enough. Let's make something more simple. Have a good one, as another video from the Angry Photographer. Catch you later.